Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, good evening and welcome. Welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself, Fox, here on the show this evening. It's Linda. Evening, Linda.
Evening, Oxger. Evening, everyone. I hope you're all keeping well and you've had a great summer.
Hope better.
Evening, troops. Evening, Oxger. Linda. Glad to be on. Hope you're all safe and well regarding this blistering hot weather we're getting. But yeah, happy bear, mate.
Evening, Southside.
Evening, Oxger. Evening, Linda and Port. Billy. Aye, good to be back, mate. Good to be on. Lots to talk about.
Yeah. And the one and only Billy, the man of a few words.
Aye, evening, Ox. Evening, troops. How we doing, man? Good to be back.
Aye. Everybody enjoying the summer? Enjoying the summer, Linda?
Yeah, very much so, Ox. The weather's picked up the last few days. A wee bit too hot, but yeah, it's nice. It's better than torrential rain that we normally get.
You know what it's like, Linda. When you're hot, you're hot. You know what I mean?
Oh, don't go there.
Right, we'll start with the football. We've got loads to talk about. People, come and join us, get your thoughts in, because there is a lot to talk about in the Rangers world. I think Big Stevie's coming on at 8:15 Southside, and he's doing a full rundown of the menu in the new catering company for last year. Whatever.
Yeah. You could do a rundown, but it was where I was. It was a pie, or a macaroni pie. That was it.
Oh, was it? So nothing had changed.
Well, he'll be happy. It was plenty of pies, wasn't it?
I think it was half the pies last night. That's what I'm hearing. But I'm sure he'll let us know. But listen, we'll start with the football. Southside. But it's a pre-season friendly, and you don't want to get carried away. But for 20 minutes, we played some excellent stuff.
I thought second half, Fox, it was a lot better. I thought first half, it was just we only doing much, to be honest. I thought we lacked a wee bit of creativity in the midfield in the first half with Kamara, Jack and Lundstrom. But certainly in the second half, he brought on the sort of forward-thinking players. My wee motorbike pal Matondo flying down the wing, and obviously Lawrence. So to me, making the change with A2 and obviously Sands coming on at the back. But just to change the A2 Ox, I thought it was a big difference in the second half.
Goals change games for you, Southside, getting the first goal and then you get the second goal and everybody's playing with a bit of confidence.
Aye, we just took off after that, wasn't it? That 10-minute spell. We rattled them with 3, So, it builds the confidence, and it was good that we got the goal at that time, straight after half-time, It was good.
Mm-hmm. Your thoughts, Port Bear?
Incredible, mate. Absolutely incredible. As Southside touched on here, a slow start. West Ham had to create, some half chance. I wouldn't say they cut us open with any great ease, mate, but they had some chance. Antonio's one to put Yoris through and goal, and should have scored. Good save by McLaughlin, and then like Southside touched on, they pressed the upgrade button at half time, mate, in my opinion, and you bring on 2 Welsh international, Lawrence and Matondo, and what a difference, Oxford! What a difference! Pace, drive, right going at him. The young lad rabid down the side, and then Lawrence just seems to ghost into the box, mate, doesn't he? He just seems to be in the right places at the right times and very, very dangerous. His movement and the position he played around Kolak, the places he picked up, interesting, mate, to watch. So, I'm excited, mate. I'm really, really excited with the pace of your team going forward.
Aye, I understand what you're saying. It was good goals there. Billy, Rabbi, we've not seen much here. We come on, started, made the goal right away, instant impact. What pleased me about the goal was he looked up and picked out Tom Lawrence.
Aye, mate, he did that, mate. He looks a right tidy player, so he does. And that's what I like about players as well. There are a lot of players, they'll make their runs, they'll take players on, and they maybe have a wee 1-2 here and there, and then they'll just put the ball in and no lift their head. But I love seeing that, players with their head up all the time, Ox. And the goal that we scored and the goal that Matondo scored, I thought it was different class. The football we played, the touches, the movement off the ball, the boys driving into space and pulling defenders all over the place. It was lovely to watch, mate. I'm the same, I know. I'm buzzing for the season because I know it's only a wee pre-season friendly, but that's just a wee taster, I think, for what's going to happen for the rest of the season, mate.
You can't judge somebody in 45 minutes, Linda. It takes a while to make your mind up at players, but they've both made instant impacts to the support. Scoring goals always gives you a positive outlook in players. What I would say about Rabbi on the wing, mate, he was, Linda, he was definitely rapid, and if I'm being honest, first impressions is it could be if he carried on that form, an upgrade in the right side of the park.
Yeah, totally agree, Ox. And I think we've been talking the last couple of seasons about the fact that we needed to, strengthen on that right side. And I know we've tried different people in there. Roof's been out there. We've had Scott Wright, who did all right last year. But I think we just thought we needed a wee bit of an upgrade. And as you say, it's only early impressions, but he was fantastic when he came on. And I know it's only a pre-season game, Ox, but if you even think back to last season, we didn't start the pre-season very well, didn't we not? And it kind of continued into the season. So let's hope this is a much more positive start and it augurs well for the weeks ahead. But yeah, I really like the wee boy Matondo, and what you said about him putting his head up and picking a pass. You can be as fast as you like. Sometimes Sakala gets himself into good positions. He's fast, but he doesn't always make the right decision. And I thought Matondo was excellent, particularly that first 20 minutes when he came on.
Yeah, I agree. Southside, Big Suitor started against with Connor last night, sort of playing on the left. Then he went to the right. They sort of changed him a bit. I don't know if you picked up with that. A competent display. He shows that he's got some reasonable ball skills to be an asset centre back in first impression. So I know we've seen him on Sunday. I know we've seen him against Blackpool, but we're up a level against West Ham, and he was competent enough.
Aye, I thought he positional wise, apart from when him and Connor get caught out and Borna. Aye, the gap was massive, But I thought he played quite well. You're always going to have that problem when you get so far up the park, and when you're right footed, you're always going to knock the ball out to the wing. You can't knock the ball along up the channel, which you might want to do. But he played well, and he's strong, he's powerful, he's what we're looking for. We're just hoping that if he stays fit, and I think in time, if we go to a back three, I definitely think he'll go on the right hand side of the defence, and I think then you'll maybe see a bit better. I mean, he'll be able to play these sort of diagonal passes as well, so that he's capable of playing at times. But I thought it was a decent display for him when the time he was on the park. And it's just about getting minutes into him, making sure that he's all right after it, and we just get more minutes into their legs again come Saturday.
Aye, and that's as a glorified training session. We hunt with thousands and thousands of people there watching it, but it's good for morale to get a result against a team who people were raving about last year at the end of the season. They were saying they were a top team in England. They go to the semi-final of the Europa League. We go to the final, and the team that beat them home and away couldn't beat us in 120 minutes.
Indeed, mate. You may have thought the team that finished 7th in the Premier League last year spent a lot of time, if you remember, in the first part of the Premier League in the top four. As you said, mate, people were raving about them. Went to the semi-final Europa Cup last year. A top competent side, mate. And Rangers, and we're supposed to see it on here tonight. It was a friendly a glorified training session. You're bang on it, sure, that's exactly what it was. But you know, we played well against a right good side, mate. They still had a lot of their top stars there last night to, you know, play against, and they're as probably the same level as in pre-season terms, mate. And we still, over that 20-minute spell when we lifted the game, we tore them apart, mate. And as far as John Golson and John Suter look, I think John Suter looked great at bringing the ball out, mate. He made a nice couple of diagonal long passes as well. So I didn't know he had that in his game. So I like to. He's basically, you know, his delivery was pretty good as well. So I know I'm very happy, mate, what I've seen so far.
I enjoyed it. Enjoyed the game of the piece, Linda. Good to see Ryan Jack get some minutes in his legs. I thought John Lundstrom was arguably our best player over 90 minutes, even though I think young Rabi deserved man of the match because his impact. I couldn't believe the sponsors man of the match of Brian Kent, even though he did score a good goal.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Lundstrom, I thought, was our best player. He's obviously started the season the way he finished the last one, Ox, and he's going to be a major player for us. And, you know, he's a prime example of just giving somebody enough time to settle into a club as well, you know, when you consider the way he started last year. And it's good that we need to keep Ryan Jack fit. And obviously he's got a big part to play too. Ryan Kent, I thought, looked quite sharp. He got involved in a lot of the play, you know. I'm glad he got that goal, Ox, because I think that's something that kind of gets to Ryan Kent at times because he knows he should score more goals. We know he's got lots of assists, but sometimes he's not the best with the shooting. So it was good that he got off the mark, and we'll look forward to see what happens to him with the contract situation, etc., going forward. But no, I thought Lundstrom looked really good again, and let's hope he continues with that for him.
I don't think anybody played particularly badly last night. I thought Scott Wright was a wee bit anonymous, if I'm being honest. Kent didn't have a great first half, but he showed glimpses, Ryan, like he does, and he got the goal, Billy. And if Ryan Kent could get himself half a dozen goals easy a season just being in that position, easy, maybe even a dozen.
Aye, Ryan Kent's a typical winger, isn't he, Ox? I mean, wingers are either on or they're off. It's, you know what I mean, they're hot or they're cold. But Ryan Kent's got ability in the world, mate. And I mean, when he plays, he's an absolute pleasure to watch, mate. He can go either side, which I like about him, mate. It used to be for Matt, when I thought about it, mate, it was a bit of a, when he first came, he was maybe a wee bit of a one-trick pony. He was always wanting to come inside and always wanting to come inside. And I'm saying to myself, this kid's got pace to burn. You know what I mean? Knock the ball past him and get to the byline and try and get the ball into the box for your strikers and your late runners for the midfield to get a chance of getting the ball in the back of the net. But that's the only thing that's missing about him is his goal scoring knocks. But I think he'll have been working in that, and I hope he'll have been working on it during pre-season as well, mate, because he took his goal really well last night, so he did, and we need to see more of that after Ryan Kent, because
yeah. You're right, Billy. Southside, and I'll take this round the park. Big Kolak, I hope I'm doing him justice when I pronounce his name, but the centre forward, he's no scored for us apart from the one that was chopped off at Blackpool. He seems to be getting fitter, stronger, more quicker. He looks as if he can shift a wee bit. And also, his movement looks good to me. All right, you'll be judging the amount of goals he scored, but first impressions, no bad bye.
Everything that you've just said, Ox, has got good movement, and he does look quite quick, actually. I heard that sort of report saying that he didn't look pacey, but he looks quite sharp. Movement was really good. I think he'll just lacked a chance last night. Nothing really just fell for him last night. He just seemed to be doing a power of running and shutting players down. But I think he'll be an asset. He seems to. I watched him off the ball last night at times, and he wasn't coming in short to try and link the play. He was always sitting up around about the edge of the 18-yard box, not on their last defender. So he seems to be that type of player that he'll be sitting on the edge of the box. That's what I'm thinking. Obviously, with Matondo, and we've got Kent, and if we can get a couple other players, playmakers into the team, it's all about creating chances, and he seems to put himself in the right position, mate. So I think it's a big positive. Really looking forward. I think once he gets his first goal, then hopefully he'll take off from there.
Port?
Definitely, mate. For 1.8 million, I think we've unearthed a wee rough diamond, mate, in my opinion. We've always had great buys, but we were buying strikers for Croatia. And what I saw last night, I saw pace, mate. I saw endeavour, industrialness. Not afraid to put his head in. Like the physical side of the game. He dropped deep at times to link up, but always making his way back to that penalty spot, mate. And if you think back to his movement, you touched on that, the movement he makes to allow Lawrence the space for Kent's goal as well. It's great, mate. His movement's top notch, and I enjoyed watching him, mate, because he likes to run the channels as well. Always looking on his balls, his feet, looking for that ball to pounce in and goal. Unlucky with the one when a guard makes a challenge back on him, had to chase back. Maybe he put the trigger a wee bit earlier, but he's trying to get on his other foot, I think, to put it in the bottom corner. But no, early signs, mate. I'm happy. He's going to be a focal point. It's hard to play as a focal point in your team, mate, because obviously Alfie's the main man. But this guy looks up for it and looks up to the challenge, mate.
First impressions, Linda?
Yeah, I would agree with what the guys have said, and as you said, it is early doors, but I think he started all the games, and I think obviously Gio sees him as the main man up there just now, Ox, because obviously Alfie's injured, and we'll hopefully see him back soon. But I think he's done well. Good movement, as you said. But Southside said as well, it'll be good to see him get that first goal, Ox, because I think as a striker, the longer you go on without maybe getting a goal, it could affect your confidence. However, I don't even know if that would with him, because he looks a confident guy. And, he's got lots of experience. We know he can score goals. So really looking forward to seeing him in the coming weeks. But I would like him to maybe get a goal in the next game, maybe Saturday's his time against Spurs.
That doesn't matter. Your thoughts, Billy? Are you with us?
Aye, mate. No, I haven't went all blank here, buddy. I couldn't hear nothing. I big Kolak, mate. I like him. I think he's a big proper number 9 box. I like what I see in the big guy. He looked a big handful when he scored against us in the Champions League. And I think we've got as Port says there, we've unroughed a diamond, mate. I really like the guy, and as what everybody's in the panels all touched on there, all he's needing is a goal. And once he scores, I think he'll score a barrel load of goals up here for the Rangers. I really do, Ox. His movement's brilliant, and I like it. He's one of the players that's wanting to play in the shoulder of centre halves, mate, because centre halves hate that. And if we can get the service to that guy, which I'm sure we will, with Matondo doing one side and Kent and guys, as the boy says there, to make space and make chances in front of him, he'll score a barrel load of goals for us, mate. And that's what he's needing. He's just needing that first goal to kick on.
Okay, so out of the piece, I think everybody's pretty positive for last night as we start getting near the start of the season, which pre-season is all about. So if it's all right with you, we'll hear from the manager, and then we'll get his thoughts on last night, and then we'll get the phone lines open. Yes?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, another strong performance in pre-season tonight. What were your thoughts on that game?
Well, very, very positive. Of course, you're playing against a Premier League side who finished 7th and almost reached the final of the Europa League. And I think today was a good test for us, against a good opponent. And I can take a lot of positives from tonight. The way we played. It was very, very good, very controlled, and I think we made some excellent goals. So all in all, it's very positive night.
And you were pleased with the intensity at Blackpool, and we really saw that again tonight, especially at the start of the second half. It was a great start to that half.
Yeah, well, you could see we're getting stronger. The physical levels are getting up, and we today again, we could put in some fresh faces. Players who need minutes as well, but. Yeah, I think I'm really happy with all the so far the preseason. We're working hard to be ready for next week when the league starts, and of course, we still have a big game on Saturday against an opponent who's even stronger than West Ham. So looking forward to this challenge Saturday, and hope to develop my squad even further.
And 4 of the new signings made their home debuts tonight and all had their own impact. How pleased have you been with the way they've settled into the group so far?
Well, very good. I mean, they came all the last 10 days, and we have a team, very very good team. Very good characters. Of course, we lost some players comparing to last year. So I'm really happy that we could get new players in so early, and the team is welcoming every new face that's coming in. So once you sign, you're one of the family, and we keep working towards our goals for this season.
And you touched on it there, the final pre-season game against Spurs on Saturday, and another great challenge for the squad.
Yeah, it is. I mean, of course, it's a quality side. They're playing Champions League next year. Very strong side with quality international top players. So and again, it's a good test for us and a good challenge to play against Tottenham before we get into the league start next week. So we have also a game against Queen's Park on Sunday. So all my players can get minutes this weekend to be ready for the start.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Hi, Giovanni, very, very positive, but not getting carried away. And he talked about people have left us. I think it's with a heavy heart we shake hands with Calvin Bassey, along with Joe Aribo's left us already, Linda. Big Bassey goes. He's brought us millions and millions and millions of pounds into the coffers. We'll be grateful for that, and we enjoyed the big man.
Oh, absolutely, Ox, and the improvement in him over the 2 years was absolutely remarkable. I think I saw the wee bit about him when Rangers confirmed his transfer. I think it was 65 appearances he made, and obviously most of them was last season. I think we only paid something like nearly 230,000, and we're getting this 23.5 million euros up front, and then the add-ons. It's absolutely incredible, Ox. And I think we would all have liked to have seen him maybe for another season, but you just don't know what's going to happen going forward. The club could not turn that sort of deal down, but I'm sure he goes with everybody's best wishes. And and let's hope he does go and he has a great career with Ajax, and maybe we'll see him in the Premiership. But yeah, he was terrific for us.
I think he'll always remember Southside as part of the Seville team.
Aye, 100%, Ox. Just, what was it, about 2 years we had him, About 2 years he was at the club. 2 seasons, aye. And he was in and out the team like we've spoke about, and he was raw, and we had to try and develop him, and then we flung him in at sort of left back and try into centre back on the left hand side, and we tried to make him into a sort of centre back, and he done well, and like we said, he wasn't great in there, but he done a job. And then obviously getting more game time and getting settled in the team, and I think Connor Goldson was a massive help to him. He talked him through many a game, and he just seemed to get stronger and stronger. Bags of energy, up and down the park, hard to align, and it was just money, Ox, that we just couldn't turn down as a club. It's a massive offer for him. And he had a purple patch probably for the best part of 7 months. So good luck to him. I hope he does well. And he's also done us a massive favour by moving on, and good luck to him. He obviously wanted to go as well. That's another factor that's obviously in it, Ox. So, and obviously it'll help us reinvest in our club, because I think Gio's still looking for a couple of more players. So all the best to him, and he was a terrific asset. Buy for Stephen G to bring him to the club in the first place.
It's remarkable, Billy. He only started 31 league games for us, and we've got all that money for him. Remarkable.
It's different class, mate. So it is. It's different class. It's brilliant. A brilliant bit of business with Rangers for stealing them for that amount of money, then and punting them on for what we've got for him, mate. It's incredible. And listen, the big guy was different class. I mean, he was rough around the edges too, but he came on and he worked his socks off for us, and he loved it. He loved it up here, and he'll go with every Rangers fan's best wishes to Ajax. And I really hope he goes to the top, the kid, because the big man's go to Ox, but it's a brilliant piece of business for the Rangers, mate. And if Linda's saying they're add-ons and whatnot as well, you never know. If that laddie could go and go double that to some of the crazy money you see down in England, mate. And if that's beneficial to the Rangers in the future as well, then it can only be good for us and all for getting them for peanuts, mate. It's a brilliant bit of business.
Yeah, Port Bear, it wasn't just Calvin Bassey the player. I think everybody liked Calvin Bassey the man.
Aye, I think that's one thing he showed, mate, with humility, and I think that's, it goes a long way as such a person. He comes across such a nice young man, very polite, and obviously it must have been a great to coach him last year because he seems to soak in all information given. I developed under Steven Gerrard, mate, but in my opinion, I mean, there's gravy and there's different gravy. Calvin Bassey's different gravy. I mean, he took everything obviously Gio poured into him when he switched into the centre back position. Also, played immensely on the left back position in my opinion as well. To get his move to Ajax, mate, where he's going to replace an outgoing £54 million player in Martinez, who went to Man United, a 5'9" centre back. That's what Martinez is. One of the smallest centre backs in the Premier League. That's talking about this today, and this guy's been brought in. Bassey's been brought in to replace him, mate. And I'll watch this boy's development, mate, because when I see him, it's an absolute joy to watch him at Ibrox, watch him, in Europe, etc., and watch his development last year. Because I think that boy's destined for the top. So I'll continue to watch his career. Obviously, why not Marcelo on close, mate, of course. But no, he goes with my best wishes, mate.
All right, just answer LB or CB, left back or centre back, south side.
LB.
What?
CB.
Billy.
CB.
Linda.
LB.
I'll go LB as well. I don't think he's a natural centre back. I think his pace gets him out of trouble. His position is not the best, and I think he's a big asset at left back because of his physicality and his pace.
I thought you meant, mate. I thought you meant his position when he's going to Ajax, sorry.
Oh, no, that's all right, mate. I know it was a tough question for you. I apologise. I realised they were on and not made them too tough,
You're supposed to send me them an afternoon so I can study.
I got to send you the answers before I send you the question.
Here, he could play outside left, engine he's got. Never mind left back.
The boy would go in and play defensive centre midfield for you and give you everything he's got, but it's just his attitude, and that pace he has just got him out of trouble. And you think back to that tackle in the Europa League final when he made the mistake and then he got back and he tackled the boy. I don't know if there was another defender in our club that could have got back and done what he done. Well, suicide.
Sorry, aye, mate. I know that mistake he made in the Europa. Aye, he didn't half make up for it. He was still. I mean, centre back. He probably could go in and play in time, and I don't doubt it. But left back for me, I think, is where he'll probably grow. And I don't know if they'll play him at left back or centre back. I don't know Port what they'll do with him, but just hope he has a good career and he goes on and makes it Ajax. And it shows you that if you do leave Rangers, then you can go and be a success somewhere else if you're young enough and you've showed promise. And Aribo's the same. And if you count Patterson, Ox, we've probably brought in close to £45 million in the three players, close to it. If you look at the sort of price, Aribo will eventually go to 10. If you're counting Patterson, roughly about 12 and now, going up to 15, and then Aribo and obviously Bassey.
And then you throw in Itten money and you throw in Gerrard money, mate. Yeah, you're talking about door,
But just for the three players, when was the last time we traded players like that? You know?
I don't think we ever have, mate.
No, we haven't. Boomsong went for big money, obviously. He was there a short time and left.
8 million.
You know, but it's phenomenal money we've brought in by the players that we've managed to develop at the club, and that's all credit to the coaching staff.
Can I ask you a question, Ox?
Wait a minute, mate. We've been joined by Blue Star. Evening, Blue Star.
Evening, Ox. Evening, panel.
Sorry, mate.
Hi, Blue Star.
Hi,
Fine, mate.
Ox, I'm just on about the last night's game.
Mm-hmm.
I hear you talking about Bassett there. Listen, I would very much doubt, I hope I'm wrong, I'd very much doubt if we could ever get another guy in as young, as powerful, and certainly to make such an impact in like the last 6 months as what he did. The big guy was absolutely phenomenal, just what you are all saying. It was on last night's game. I've got to be truthful. I call it as I see it. A lot of times you don't agree with me, but I call it as I see it. I'm an honest guy. I think the first half was pretty, and I get the fact that it's pre-season, they're trying to get up to fitness. For me, it was a bit of a non-event, the first half. I've got to be honest. For me, the whole game totally changed when he brought on Lawrence and the wee guy Matondo. For me, our midfield, I felt sorry for the Cholak up front. For me, Ox, for what, granted he's not scored yet, but for what I can see, his movement is absolutely first class. The only problem that I had with it, when Kent was on the ball, too many of the balls were when they were getting flighted in, even if they were getting near him, he had 4 and 5 defenders going about him all the time. And let's be truthful, Moyes in for 4 other players that accumulate up to over 130 million, and that's what you're up against, and that's not counting the ones that he had out last night. So the big guy was up against it, but you could still see he was making the runs. Unfortunately, Fay midfield, for me, there was no punch balls coming through him at all. They were coming for the wings. And the difference being for me in the second half, goodness, they were only just on the part of the 2 guys. Lawrence cuts inside, and then as soon as the wee Matondo get the ball, he just ran directly like a whippet straight at their defence. And it was as if they were used to Rangers playing the ball square and slow passing, which they did the whole of the first half. Yet when they 2 boys came on, Ox, they just ran directly straight at the centre of their defence. They weren't even really getting out in the wing because they were cutting inside. And West Ham were taken aback. The wee guy Matondo, the speed of him, that was frightening. So if that's the look of things to come, I can only see brilliant for me. The only thing I would say, Ox, and I'm being honest about it, I don't know about Tillman, obviously, because I've not seen the guy, but I'm hoping he's got a wee bit more creativity in the middle of the park. For me, there was far too many square balls the first half, mate. The midfield weren't really getting forward in support of the big guy up front at all. And I think we need something.
I don't think it was just the midfield.
Forward,
I don't think it was just the midfield. I think in the first half, I don't think our wide players offered us as much threat near.
I agree with you. And Ox, I've got to ask you something. What was your opinion on the man of the match going to Kent? Seriously, I couldn't fathom that. I'm not saying he played bad. I don't mean that. But for me, it was never. I honestly think Barisic had a great game. I really did. He took me aback last night.
I thought my best player on 90 minutes was John Lundstrom, but I would have given the man of the match to Rabi because his impact in the game, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get it. Absolutely, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I just thought when they 2 came on, they added that bit of pace and power running at the opposing team, you know.
But remember, that's done in the sponsors' lounge, so you don't know who's sitting in there. And
okay.
So I'm not going to read too much into that. But I think we said pretty similar about the first half, Southside.
Yeah, I said that earlier on, Blue Star. I don't know if you heard that. I thought Kamara, Lundstrom and Jack didn't work in the first half. You've got, no. I mean, Kamara was going forward, but you see the difference with Lawrence, right? He's a forward-thinking player. He's going to go in the box. I thought Scott Wright didn't go on the ball enough, didn't get running at them. And like you said, Kent was getting doubled up on the other side. So in the first half, it was a bit pedestrian. I don't think we even had a shot at goal. But second half, the pass down the line, the first time the boy makes a mistake and can't cut the ball. And obviously, we've changed it with Matondo in the park, and he whips down the line and then looks up. And obviously, I just think he got that wee lift, we got the bottom early and we got the goal, and then everything else he touched after that, he was wanting on the ball, and it gave him obviously confidence. It gave the whole team confidence because we rattled them with 2 within 10 minutes, you know. And they were good goals and all, Blue Star, the way we worked them. But
great goals.
I just think at the time we need forward-thinking players, and I don't think Kamara would be in there. I think a Lawrence or a Tillman, maybe something like that, is going to go in there, because you want somebody who's going to arrive in the box.
Or what about Morelos playing in there at certain games?
I don't see that, Ox. I don't see that.
You know, that's where he started his career.
I know, but he's a striker. For me, he's a striker.
Would you play it too?
I think in the league games, we could play Livingston there and go with a 2 up front, no bother. But obviously, I don't think Alfie's going to be fit enough for that. So,
no,
but in time, I definitely, mate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Could you see that happening, Billy?
Aye, mate, I can definitely see that Alfie when he's fit and Big Collett playing as a 2, mate. I think the 2 of them will be a honfy. But when the 2 of them play it, when you see them now as individuals, mate, they're a handful anyway. So, I mean, if they 2 are playing up top, mate, defender, it's got to be an absolute nightmare for defenders, because you know what Alfie's like, you know what Big Collat's is like, so they'll know where to stick a twist. So I would really like to see the 2 of them playing together, mate. And a 2, mate, definitely all day long, buddy. But we've got plenty of options here, Ox. With the players that we've got and the players that we've got have just come in. So, but as for a 2, mate, all day long, mate, aye.
Do you think there's a possibility of that, Linda?
Yeah, I don't know why we wouldn't try it. I mean, we've spoken on here loads of times about perhaps playing with the 2 up front. And we thought of we always talk about, can Alfie play with a kind of partner, and some people don't think he can, but I think it's something that it could be worked on. The difficulty in the Premier League is that teams are so defensive against us, aren't they, Oxford? Sometimes it isn't as much space. So the more forward players on and goal scorers that we've got in the team, the better for me. And I think Gio touched on that at some point when he was talking about the game, saying that we failed to kill teams off last year. And he's hoping that people like Matondo and Lawrence will get his goals as well, so that we don't concede late last-minute goals and end up drawing games. And that happened to us a few times. But no, I wouldn't. I think playing with 2 strikers would be something that would be worth trying.
I think if you watched Alfie's evolution just since he's been at Rangers, when he came in first, he was just, typical, focal point, number 9, a battering ram. But as the years have went on and he's under his development, he became a guy that could link play, get these switches he always does when he drops deep, and he switches it left to Kent or right, or drops it off. I think that's a big possibility, mate, because Alfie's link-up play is evolved to a pretty high level in my opinion, mate. So if Cholak was the number 9 and Alfie was like effectively number 10, he's started at midfield as well, mate. And I wouldn't be against it, put it that way. But very, very strong, wouldn't it?
I'm not saying it'll happen, but I get some points. There is times with certain teams at home we could maybe do with our couple of bodies in the box. The creativity we've talked about, Blue Star and Kamara. I thought at times his awareness, the way he moves, Glenn Kamara looks like a Rolls Royce. But he's not a guy that slides balls that often through for a centre forward. So, where does he fit in going forward? Is he going to be an attacking midfielder, or is he going to be next to Lundstrom like he was in the second half? Where do you see him?
I totally agree with what you're saying. You're right. He's a very, very classy looking player. As you say, you just don't see the balls getting punched through. He's maybe a side to side or even backwards. He keeps the ball in retention, granted, but for me, I keep saying it, I've always been looking for a Barry Ferguson type. The Barry wasn't the quickest on his feet by no stretch of the imagination, but what he did that day was wee bursts, as we all know, but he punched balls through. I actually thought Hadji was going to be that type of player, but he's totally different again. For midfield, I just think there was too much of a sameness, Ox, in the sense that Jack wasn't really bursting forward. Lundstrom, for me, I don't know. I was expecting him to really get forward last night, and he didn't. He hung back. Certainly, he doesn't. What I will say about Lundstrom is his body attention is first class. He finds his players. That's a definite. But even Kamara, him and Jack, when you're playing three like that, or whether it's Arfield, Davis, or Lundstrom, there has to be maybe a punch. You can't keep relying on the two wingers. As Linda says, when they start doubling up on the likes of Kent, that's when we were getting problems, Ox. And that's when you see Big Kolak. He's stunning in times. He's making runs, and there was nobody punching the ball through him. So for me, that's when you need a midfielder to get forward and support. And for me, that's exactly what Lawrence did. As soon as Lawrence was on the park, he just burst right through. And that's where the goals came from. Because you had two guys out with Kent actually running through the middle rather than just coming in for the wings, you know what I mean?
Aye.
But I agree with you, Kamara. If you're playing Kamara, I think he's always going to be a defensive type, Ox. I don't think you'd see him really going on the attack as such. I don't think he's that type of player. I don't.
Or is there games at Ibrox? I'll take this to Billy. If we play that sort of 3-3-3, 4-3-3, if you like, and a blend it, we usually have two sitters in the midfield and one going and joining in. Is there times where we should have one sitter and two joining in against second teams at Ibrox, Billy?
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely, Ox. That's the way to play it, because see sometimes when we've played, we've got our midfielders are too similar at times. And that's no a knock on the players themselves. We're just too similar and they cancel each other out, I think. You know what I mean? With players sitting in. So when we've got other options there, and especially teams that want to sit in, we can push them. Because listen, we all know what they've got to do. They've got to just park the bus right along the 18-year box, mate. That's what they've got to do. And try and steal something. You know what I mean? A set piece or a breakaway or something like that. So we've got to be ready to combat that. And the only reason we're going to combat that is if we play one sitting in, right? Because they're not going to waver up the park anyway. So if we've got forward-thinking players, mate, and if we've got wide players that can get in behind them and get the ball into the likes of Alfredo and Big Kolak and that's how to cut these teams open, mate. Definitely. But as I said, I think they're just in games with our players, our midfield players, mate, are just a wee tad too similar, and they cancel each other out.
Aye, they're all good players. They three were on show even in the first half. Southside, Jack done okay. I thought Lundstrom at the piece was very good in his role. Glenn Kamara at times he just does things that you think, wow, what a smooth and silky player. But they don't score a lot of goals collectively, and they don't make too many chances, if we're being honest, mate.
No, that's the one thing. Probably a game in Europe or somewhere, or you want to shut a game down late on, you could have that midfield playing, you know, and you can go in and play that. And if you're going away for him in Europe, you're maybe starting with the three in the midfield, and then you've got quick players up the park with a Kolak and Alfie up front and that. There's times that will play, but in Scotland, when we're playing Livingston's or Motherwell's at home, St Mirren's, we should be able to play one holding player and just go at them non-stop and get the players on that can create and score goals. And that's what we should try and do in the league. We don't need two sitting players at Ibrox all the time. There will be games when we will play it. But for me, you want to get as many players, forward-thinking players on the park. And Lawrence scores goals. Kamara gets you some goals, but not often. I just think if you've got the type of players, Tillman probably come in, even a Lowry one can score you goals in the wee cameos that he's had. So he's a forward-thinking player as well. So that's what we're looking for. Forward-thinking players once we decide if we're playing two holding midfielders or just the one in the league games. And then we just get on the ball, mate, and just get the chances flowing, and hopefully we get plenty of goals this season.
Okay. Linda, Giovanni, he's tweaked and changed how we play. Are you enjoying it?
Yeah, I think he wants everybody to be sort of dynamic, doesn't he? He wants them to push up the park. He likes this pace, and and as he said, in his interviews, he wants more goals. I think when he first came in, Ox, last season. We had been conceding a lot of goals under Gerrard, if I remember, and he tightened that up, and we weren't conceding as many goals, but we kind of lost our attacking threat a wee bit, I think, particularly from our fullback. So you kind of got the impression that it's a wee bit sort of going back to that, similar, more attacking. But you can start to see he's kind of you pardon the pun, his blueprint on the team. But he certainly likes them make up the park as quickly as possible, and I think you'll start to see a lot more goals being shared across the team, and also people maybe taking more shots on as well, Ox, because I think that's something that we don't do enough. But it'll be interesting to see now that he's got half a dozen of his own players in, and what sort of difference that'll make.
Aye, he's developing his own team quite quickly, quicker than I thought it would be, Linda, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, definitely, Ox.
Yeah, right, just a quick question for you. I'll bring Blue Star on this. James Sands, I thought on Saturday at times in Blackpool, he was bullied with the big centre forward. They played on him and he muscled him. But last night he came on the deck, they looked comfortable with the ball. And I don't know if he's a centre back, but he's certainly a squad player that could be an asset over a season. Billy?
Aye, why no, mate? Why no? He's just a raw kid as well, mate. He's came from America, and when we seen him up at Pittodrie on night, we were saying to ourselves, well, is that the game for the kid to get through into? But the boy just needs time, Ox. You know what I mean? He's shown in wee flashes that he's a decent enough football player, mate. So I'm prepared to give the laddie time, because I'm sure he'll come good as well. Definitely.
Your thoughts, Paul?
I think it's 12 months, mate, to get yourself a contract. And I think in these next 12 months, I think you're going to see Merriam. I think we think. I think he seemed to enjoy the physicality that he got off Antonio playing up front for West Ham. And I think he looks strong. He looks strongly tackled to me, Oxford. He's a good utility man, because he can play in several positions. So if we get to that stage when we've got, injuries and we need this guy to step in, he can play in midfield, he can play at centre back, right back. He's played a few positions. But in my opinion, mate, he's got 12 months to get himself a contract. So we'll have enough games to get that. I don't know.
Outside them, we'll go to Blue Star.
I think he done quite well last night when he came on. He seems to have a wee bite in the tackle, because I watched him a few times. He did give the ball away at one point, and he was straight back on it and straight in, and he done a tackle where I sat, and he was certainly flying into the tackle. So seems to have a bit about him. I would like to. I don't see him being centre back, but I think he's done all right. I think it's just to get game time in him. I think going forward, if Gio uses him, in my opinion, he's going to maybe end up in the midfield in a two. If Jack's injured, or he's maybe not playing Kamara in there, I think Sands could go in there beside Lundstrom, no problem.
Blue Star.
I think he was tidy enough. Being honest, I really don't know what his best position is yet. As Portnat says, I think it's going to take him time, but anything he was basically asked today, certainly I'd agree, he put in a fair few tackles, as did Big Thingby when he was up against that Antonio. I've got to give the big Hearts guy credit, Suter. I thought Suter was really, really good along with Goldson. I really did, because that Antonio, as we've all seen, he knocks guys about for fun in that Premier League, and he certainly did make it doing that last night against their two. So Sands, he looked tidy enough. I'm not sure he'd be a centre back, Ox, to be honest. I think he's made a kind of maybe holding midfielder or whatever. But he was assured enough on the ball, aye.
Does every squad need a player like James Sands, Southside, that could maybe cover your two full-back positions, centre mid, thrown in emergency? A big asset.
It's a big asset to have. It's just, it seems to be when you're that type of player, you just never seem to get a settled run in the team. And he's sort of been in and out, and like Port says, he's only got another year left, and I think Gio quite likes him. He's used him when he put him on in the UEFA Cup final. So I think possibly going forward. I just thought he might have went into the midfield at some point. I know it's congested in there and it's with players, but I thought he might have been in beside Lundstrom in time. I'm unsure if Jack will stay fit. And as if he's using Kamara slightly forward, then I think he would go in there beside Lundstrom in time. That's just my opinion. But
Port, you wanted to come in there?
It's difficult Southside, isn't it? It's 12 months, not a long time in football, but if you take Calvin Bassey's meteoric rise to see where he went in 6 months, I'm not saying the guy can't do it, but I think was it yourself, Blue Star, that touched on it when you're a utility man and you're not actually mastering, one position. How do you nail down that position? And on the other flip, what you said, Rocksteer, is it handy to have a guy like that in your team? 100%, absolutely 100%. Mr. Steady 7 or 8 every week, no matter where he plays. Very, very great to have that in your team, mate, in my opinion.
Aye, okay, aye. Listen, we want all our players to do well. I thought done a nice wee cameo last night, Linda. The boy Divine playing on the left side, I thought he'd done a shimmy down the park. I thought was excellent, considering he's a right back to trade,
Yeah, he did. He looked quite confident as well, Ox, didn't he? And these young guys that we're bringing through, that's one thing about them. They are confident, and they're obviously they're talented. And it'll be interesting to see how this pans out, because obviously just now we've only got Barisic, haven't we, as left back, and I think there was some speculation today that we might be interested in a couple of names being mentioned, because we probably don't want to go into the season perhaps just with Barisic. But the young boy Divine, he's always done well when he came on, so that'll be interesting to see how that pans out. The thing about Borna is that he always seems to go through these wee phases, doesn't he, where he doesn't play particularly well. But let's hope that doesn't happen to him this season, and he's consistent, throughout the months ahead. But no, the young boy Divine did his chances, no harm at all.
No. And there seems to be a positivity about with Giovanni that all these young boys are getting more minutes, and I'm not saying that Stephen done a bad job, but the boy McCann, Lowry, King, Divine, they're getting more minutes than I thought they would have done, if I'm being really honest, over the last few weeks and months, at the end of last season, start of this season. Lowry gets fit, I think he'll be involved in about 20 games. Where he'll start, that's a different thing, but a lot of positives for the B squad to show that there's a pathway, as they call it. What?
Aye, definitely, mate. I think, I'm going to be honest here, mate. I think due to the quality, Alexa McCann, Lowry, King, Divine, and even the boy Cole McKinnon to an extent, he's maybe a wee bit behind them. I don't think they're just there, mate, just to get, thrown in for game's sake. I think Gio really does see, as you say, mate, a pathway from the B team into your squad, and I think he does see a lot of qualities in there, lads, and I think that's why they're there. They're there in merit next year. I don't think they're just there just for, squad filling purposes. I think these young guys are definitely very talented, and I think they're going to go a long way if they can keep their quality up and their will to learn. As I said, Bassey should be that blueprint, mate. Bassey showed them all how to do it, how you can turn your career around in 6 months. So I do really think that, although, mate, that they're in merit, and fair play to the boys for getting their starts and their cameos for the bench.
Yeah, they've got all great attitudes, and with Sands looking hungry, Southside.
Aye. I just think I'd like to see him get a chance. It's like you say, he's that utility player, right back, centre back, into midfield. But I just hope that at some point he gets a chance. And do you know, Port, I've been thinking about the young boys when you were talking about that, and I had a think the other day, and I think we're bringing in Tillman and Lawrence, Matondo. I'm unsure now whether they'll get much game time this season. One or two of them, obviously, the boy King, obviously, in that position at centre back, it'll be hard for him to break through. Lowry might get some game time, but I think he's going to go with the nucleus of what he's brought in, and I think he's going to be looking for something for that Tillman as well. He's obviously an international with America, so I think it's good learning for him. It's good to get them in. It's good that the other boys in Cole McKinnon, he's just went to Partick Thistleport on loan.
Yep.
So it's good experience for him going there as well. So other younger boys that's in the underage group, like you see, it's good to see these boys getting the chance. But I think this season, it's a big season for us, and I don't see them featuring it as much. I'd like to hope they maybe get a wee run in the League Cup.
All right, we've been joined by Robert for the report. Evening, Robert.
Evening, Ox. Evening, panel. How are you all doing?
How are we doing, mate?
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad.
What's on your mind, brah?
Just a couple of questions and observations I've seen for the past two games to put to yourselves and see what the rest of the guys think, mate. First one being...
girls.
Oh, sorry, Linda.
That's all right. Hi, Rob.
How you doing?
Rangers for everyone and anyone. That correct, Port?
That is, mate. It certainly is, yes.
Carry on, Robert.
First one being the lineup last night. Do you think that will be the starting 11 for the first game of the season? Maybe the exception of Lawrence and Matondo pushing for a start.
So it wasn't the first 11, it was the first 11 plus 2?
Well, that would be the only two changes potentially that I can think of. The rest of it seems to me would be your basis of what you're going with. Back four, and McLaughlin in goal for me would be starting against Livingston. The only reason I say Lawrence and Matondo was obviously the way they changed the game last night, and also given the fact it's artificial pitch, maybe Jack drops out for Lawrence, Kamara goes in beside Lundstrom, and maybe Matondo for right. That's the only two that I would change. But I just think
if you're basing it on last night's performance, Matondo's streets ahead of right, south side.
I think you're right. I had a conversation with Ox about that, and I thought similar. I think if Scott Wright had had a really good game last night, he might have put himself in the picture. But I think you're right, mate. I think Matondo and Lawrence could possibly come in that team. The rest of it will be what will start against Livingston unless there's an injury or something picked up. But I think the team that did start last night might have been in his thoughts for the Livingston game. But I think you're probably right, and we'll see in time, I suppose. Probably will be miles off it as usual.
Can I come in there?
I need to go, Bluestar.
I just can't, for the life of me, think that he's not going to push to put the boy Davis in as soon as he can when he spent over £4 million on him. And I know money's not everything, but in our case, when you're spending that kind of outlay, for me, I think he's an absolute certain starter as soon as Gio can manage to get him in the team, you know.
Thanks for that, Bluestar. That was the first hour of the show. I hadn't mentioned him, but that was the first time.
I'm sorry, but I need to go. I need to go anyway. I'll let you get more callers in. But thanks for letting us on, and it's a great show, guys.
We've all mentioned Davis. It depends how fit he is, mate. Yeah, we don't know that, David.
I know that. You know. Right, cheers, guys.
Cheers,
Bluestar.
All the best, mate.
No, Robert, you're not far away. You're not far away with the team last night.
I did. I think you mentioned it a minute ago. It was just streets ahead. Matondo, mate, is streets ahead of right. And I've always said, I think when we signed right, I know I say the same thing about Jack a few years back. At best, I thought Ryan Jack was going to be a squad player, and he made me eat my words. But when you see the difference in levels last night from right to Matondo, I just think you're talking about a 6 and a good 8+, mate, in difference here. I think Matondo had such an impact that he has to start against, Tottenham, in my opinion, and he's a cert start for Livingston away. And the same goes for Lawrence, mate. I just think he had much more impact in the game. The way he got on that inside left channel, but also played very, very close to Cholak. And the two of them seem to understand each other. The understanding was pretty good right away, practically. And Lawrence's eye for goal, mate, that finish, the finish, a lot of people haven't given that enough credit. That's a hard skill. When the ball's kind of cross and you take it the first time, you put it in the opposite corner. I don't think Robert's going to be far away for the team, mate. I would definitely start with Matondo and Lawrence, mate, definitely.
There's a big issue for me. I don't know how fit they are, Robert. and I think sports science can come into it a bit, how far down the road they are if they're fit. But if you're basing it on last night's second half performance, I definitely agree with you, Billy.
Aye, mate. But the fitness can be the key as well. But that's what the pre-season's all about, Ox, isn't it? To get these guys up to speed. So, plus they're naturally fit. As I've said this in the show, I don't know how many times. All these top professionals, they're all athletes, mate. And it's just about getting minutes and game time under their belt, mate. But I'm with the collar, like, you know, definitely. I think the two, Tom Lawrence and Matondo, they're a certain to start as well, mate. That'll be your starting 11 on Sunday, Sunday, sorry, against come on, Billy, now. Livingston, St Johnstone. No, that'll be the.
Any more teams you want to mention?
Aye, Aberdeen, Celtic, Dundee United. No, that'll be the. That'll be the starting 11, mate, when we play Livingston.
Just taking a note of this for Secret Santa. New teeth for Billy. Oh dear, brilliant, mate. Right, listen, get yourself a mute. We'll come back to Robert after we have a tune. I would hope we were going to have a tune. Two boys seem to be away. Hope no everybody's away and left there.
You've heard of Rangers, the famous Glasgow Rangers, a team of giants who come from Ibrox Park. They've won honours from Russia to Australia, but now at Hampden they're gonna make that mark. The Scottish Cup will soon be in their hands. Jock was the proudest in the land, and the Blues are gonna win the cup. Viva El Rangers! We know the boys will run amok. Viva El Rangers! And with every single goal they score, Viva El Rangers! We'll give the lads a hand and roar. El Rangers! We are the people, and there's really no denying that they've been trying to put us out the cup. With men like Greg and Fearless and Jardine, saying it has been impossible to stop. The skills of Millard, Forsyth and McKean, they'll need a hurricane to stop our team. And the Blues are gonna win the cup. Viva El Rangers! We know the boys will run amok. Viva El Rangers! And with every single goal they score, Viva El Rangers! We'll give the lads a hand and roar. El Rangers, there's wee Tommy, Colin, Jackson and Big Peter. He's with hands to stop an avalanche. Johnson, Derry, Paulin and McDonald. It's a doggle for Wallace and the boys. The chant of easy, easy from the flanks. The chants are really gonna get into them. And the Blues are gonna win the cup. Viva El Rangers! We know the boys will run amok. Viva
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show. It's your platform. Let's hear from you. It's your show. It's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Right, gentlemen and ladies, we're all back. A lady, shall I say?
Yes, mate.
We're all back?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. I take your point. I don't think you'll be far away with that. I'm 11. I think there's still maybe a full game to play, maybe a behind the closed doors game before we play Livingston, mate. So maybe a bit early for the planning, but I don't think you'll be far away, Robert.
I mean, it was just obviously the strength that was obviously put out last night because, like I said, we're getting closer to the start of the season, but obviously the Blackpool game, there was a lot of turnaround, whereas last night as well was quite conservative with substitutions rather than changing the full mixture. So to me it was an indication that he's planning for that opener against Livingston and maybe having a few players just on the edge of full fitness. I mean, Matondo, for talking sakes, if he's only 75-80% fit, then dearie me, which is going to be like 100% fit, but he's an exciting player to have. Last night, the wee glimpses was unbelievable, and I think it's going to be a real threat down both wings now with him and Kent, so more food for thought for the oppositions.
I hear you. And we keep, obviously, we lost Calvin Bassey today, but I think we knew it was coming, it was imminent. And we signed Ben Davis, who arguably some people might think he might improve our team at centre back. Is that fair? Southside, then Port.
I think the first thing is that he gives you the balance, being a left-sided player, you know, and that's when we've watched it in pre-season. We've stuck everybody out on the right-hand side, and they get into themselves into a position where they've either got to go sideways or they've got to go back. So, I think in time, mate, once he's up to fitness and stuff, I think he'll be a really good addition. And I think it's probably when we go to a back three, you'll obviously find players then should start to get their most comfortable position, and if it's Suter on the right, it'll balance the defence. So I think that's what we're looking for, mate. Somebody with the left foot that's going to hopefully be fit, and hopefully he'll adapt and play well for us, mate, because we'll put out a big amount of money for him, so we obviously think he's certainly got potential. So that's what we're looking for, and hopefully it is. We'll see the best there.
Pogba and Linda.
I think at £4 million, mate, you know, Ben Davis for Liverpool, a 4-year contract, you know, it becomes our 6th new signing, which is incredible. You know, he's got great experience, but 8 years with Preston North End, played by a loan spells at York, Tranmere, Southport, Newport, Fleetwood Town before he joined Liverpool. You know, and he's developed his game further. All right, he didn't break into Liverpool first team, mate. They bought him in on an emergency basis because I think they were doing one centre back at the time last season, so they had to bring somebody in just about the January time. He was out on loan last year to Sheffield United, made 23, you know, for them, played at left back and left centre back, mate. So he sort of covers them two bases in that position for us, as Southside says, to keep that balance. He comes with high recommendations, mate, as well from Jurgen Klopp. He's you know, full of, you know, praise for the boy, his attitude, his will to learn, and I think we'd get him at his peak, mate. I think he's probably 27. I said probably going to go into his prime. So I think it's great next year. He's probably, you know, watched Rangers last year. You know, I feel far. You know, British club going to a European final. He's thinking this is probably the biggest club outside anybody else he can come with. I think it's excellent, mate. I think he'll do very well. Ben Davis, he's quick, he's strong in the tackle, reads the game well, mate. You know, for what I've seen him early parts of him, and I've been watching, doing a sort of wee scout on him, watching some of the stuff on YouTube and that. So, no, I'm excited with him, mate. But it's how do we fit him in? I think somebody touched on it earlier on. John Suter was picked the other night, but to give you the balance, like Southside saying, you know, does Davis start alongside Goldson? That's the question the gaffer's got to make, mate.
It depends on his fitness, doesn't it?
Yeah.
His fitness. But could we see him on Saturday? Do you think he'll maybe get 45 minutes? Would that be fair, Billy?
I think that'd be.
Linda, then Billy.
Sorry, mate.
Yeah, I think that would be fair, Ox. I think we'll definitely see him on Saturday. If not, you said that, the game behind closed doors, I think it's Queen's Park, isn't it? Maybe he'll play in that. But I think he'll definitely feature at some point. I think on paper, he seems to be a good signing. Obviously, that was good information we got from Port there in terms of how much football he's played. He could possibly be in a back three. Gio's played that before, hasn't he, when Lundstrom dropped back? So it could maybe be Golson, Suter and Davies as the three centre backs. But you definitely get that balance with him being left-footed. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how he fits into the team. But on paper, it looks like a good signing, Ox.
Boy.
Just to touch on what London and the rest of the panel said, I think the exact same thing with Ben Davies. I mean, I know he was out on loan. I think it was Sheffield Wednesday or Sheffield United, I think it was, and he was doing it at Preston North End on loan as well. So he played a stack of games for them, but it's just been getting him up to match speed dogs. I think we'll get a wee glimpse of him at the weekend, mate. But he looks a right tidy wee football player on that left, being naturally left-sided. So aye, let's get the guy out and give him a wee chance, and let's see what he's got to offer us, and try and get more minutes under his belt, because that's what these guys need. They need minutes under their belt just to get them up to speed. When you get all these new boys that's all coming in, when they're all competing for different positions, and they're all fit and they're all healthy and all raring to go, it can only be good for the club as a whole, with good healthy competition, mate.
What's your thoughts, Robert?
I think it's a very worthwhile addition to the squad, mate. I think Southside hit it on the head for me when he said the balance. He's a left-footed centre-half, and he's going to naturally play on the left side, which I think we've said a couple of times in the show that it's a bit unfair in Katic when he's put on that left side, trying to play the ball with his right foot. The game's totally different. You see it from a different perspective when you're trying to clear the ball with your right or find a pass. But I think the experience he brings as well, like Port said, a lot of clubs, a lot of football he's played, although maybe it didn't work out with Liverpool, getting any kind of first-team experience, being in and around the coaching with Klopp and the team, training while he was there before going on loan, it's probably quite vital. And I think as well, 4-year contract, it's one for the future. You're kind of building at the back there, because it's hard to guess now that Davis and Suter could be your next two centre-back pairings. Obviously, people will come and go and whatever, but that's two there that you could start now as a main back focus when Golson leaves us. Obviously, he's got another 4 years as well, so there's more depth. And I've said it as well in the show, a 3-5-2 for me is very appealing, but it's where you fit everybody in now, and that formation. There's players that are going to sit on the bench, there's players that might be less game time than they thought they were going to get, so a lot of food for thought for Gio for the league campaign as well as Europe, but it's good to have. A big squad's definitely good to have. Relying on a false 9 halfway through the season.
Would it be fair to say, Southside, that we were maybe a wee bit anxious there wasn't a movement, but we've had to wait to see who goes, what kind of players they're going to have to bring in, and maybe they've timed it pretty well, the recruitment into the club.
Yeah, 1 or 2 is one of the 2 first, I would say, don't it? I mean, it's a long window, do you know what I mean? And but they've identified the positions that we were hoping that they would go for, and obviously it was the right side, it was a striker, and obviously at the time we were thinking a centre back anyway, because you thought Golson would probably leave, but the fact he stayed, we still needed a left-sided defender now with Bassey going, so we seem to have covered their bases. I think we'll probably go out and get another left back in time. But apart from that, unless we probably move a player or two, and see what we're saying, you're saying the team's stacked, and we've not even spoke about Sakala or Roof, how they were even going to get in that team now, you know. It was interesting, because I heard Gio when he said we never had a striker last season, and he's talking about going to the final in Europe, and I'm thinking, well, surely he might have thought Sakala would have been a striker, but obviously no in his eyes.
Sakala, is he a number 9? Is he an impact player? I don't know, only time will tell. Is he going to be with us? You know, there's lots of rumours in the press, but it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. I think we all like Fashion the man, Port, you know.
I think Fashion the man is, you know, a great wee player, mate. You know, his goals, I think 12 goals he ended up with last season. I mean, that's all right, his first season. It's just that playing in a number 9 in our team, mate, you have to be a focal point, and unfortunately, we man's not got the attributes and the physicality to stand up to it. I think, you know, at best it would be sort of playing bit part of Kent this year as an impact player, a backup for Kent on that left hand side. I do think he's dangerous when he's coming, you know, deep with that, you know, raw pace. That'll always hurt our team next year, but I just don't know if we've got any space for a wee man this year. I really don't, and it's horrible saying that, mate, because I love it. He plays a game with a smile on his face. He's infectious. He's a great wee guy, you know, and 12 goals speak for themselves as well. But some of them were important goals, if you remember back to the goals he scored. But it's your quality, as I keep saying this, Oxford, every year, for Gerrard come in now to Gio, it's not just numbers in the squad now, Oxford. We're talking about quality and depth. We're not just talking about guys that's filling the squad up. Like, the guys that have been brought in my opinion, are definitely an upgrade on what we had to the previous. So it's quality, mate, and I just don't know if he's got that quality to take the next step along with the guys that's came in.
Are you saying he's surplus to requirements?
I'm
not trying to put words.
I don't want to be negative, Oxford. I don't want to be negative, but I do think he's surplus, mate. I do. I can't see where he fits in and lift the club to the same quality of what we've got right now.
Okay. I don't think you'd be alone in these thoughts, Port. You know, I mean, I think I've spoke to Southside about this on several occasions, and he sees him as just a backup for outside left, not even outside right, Linda. He doesn't see him as a centre.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. And as Port said, you know, it's the quality, you know, as the club's got back, you know, to a certain level, just like, you know, on and off the parkocks, and the quality of player is increasing as well. And unfortunately, Fashion might not be just like, you know, good enough to actually, well, certainly maybe not a starting place. I can't see that, but you know, he maybe might find himself that he can't even get a place on the bench either going forward, Docs, because he has made a difference when he's come on at times. But you can see that perhaps, you know, the players that we've brought in are maybe just at a slight level above him. But and there's a possibility if we maybe got an offer for him, Ox, that we thought that, you know, that it was a good price, you might find that the club would sell him. And depending on what he wants to do as well, Ox, because if he's not getting any game time, you know, he might find that you know, even he wants to move on. So there could be a conversation, you know, needed going forward. But we do like him. But as I say, it's just the way things are now at the club in terms of the quality.
Aye, but I think we're pretty short, Billy, in the forward positions as number 9s. Obviously, we've got Cholak. Alfie could boot for how long? Could Alfie go? We don't know. We've not got a lot of options. Lawrence could maybe play there at a push. I think somebody says Tillmans can play there. I've not seen enough to judge that. Fashion was the only one. We're short in that area, eh?
But that's right, mate. Look what happened last season when we fell short in the latter stages of the season. We're playing false number 9s all the way to the European final type thing. So, listen, we love the bones out the wee guy. He plays with a smile on his face and he gives you everything he's got. Could he improve? Absolutely. But listen, I wouldn't cut our losses with the wee man yet, because we could need him, Ox. We could need him. And listen, it's all about a squad in football now, as we all well know, mate. So he's maybe a starter in maybe the Scottish Cup type, League Cup type games, mate. And as I think it was Port that said there, he'll be a right good backup for Ryan Kent. You know what I mean? But no, I wouldn't cut my losses with a wee man as of yet, mate. But definitely no.
Robert, can you come?
I think it would benefit from a loan move, mate. I agree with Port. I don't see how he fits in the plans this season with a lot of the new boys coming in. And I don't think he's definitely not going to push Kent out of a starting position. So for me, a loan move, and then review again next season. I don't think selling him would probably be the best for us or him. I think he could add something to us, but not this season, unfortunately. I do think a loan move.
Why would you keep him for another year if he was surplus, mate? If you could get rid of him no longer in his contract, but he's maybe an asset to sell on.
Yeah.
It's probably not got the value just now.
He'll have even less value. He'll have even less value this time next year.
Sitting the bench.
Contractual wise, aye. But if you loan him out to a club, we could go and get a lot of. Go somewhere, get a lot of game time, and you never know, might find some form in whatever league or club he goes to.
All right,
that's fair, linked with France. So I think it's Auxerre's been linked with most recently. So he could go there and find that league more suited to him, and you never know, find that bit of form, and before you know it, Auxerre maybe want to buy him or something like that. You don't know how these things pan out, but I think a loan move, obviously run down that year in his contract till next season, review it, how he's been on, and then if it's the same scenario, then obviously maybe you cut your ties there and then and try and move him on. You might take a hit financially, but it's one of the ones you just have to take that risk.
If he's surplus to requirements, if you had a choice, loan or punt, I think you would punt Southside.
Yeah, I think we'd probably have to punt him, Ox. It's one of the ones, Alfie could go in late in the window, or somebody could get an injury, and we might loan him out, and then we're left with Roof and Cholak, and then we need to go and try and find somebody. Just the way Gio spoke and said we never had another striker, and obviously he did play up front in Europe for us because he played up front against Braga away. So I just think he's only been effective for the left-hand side when he's played for us. On the right, he's not looked comfortable at all, and through the middle, he's too lightweight, and he's not going to get that number 9 position. So probably it's something the club might be looking today, but I think we've got to make sure Alfie's going to come back, and is he going to be here or no before we make any decision on Sakala, I think.
All right, yeah. People out there, give us their thoughts. Let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
What's your rationale? We had you then? What are you thinking we had you then, Billy?
Well, we know what he brings to the team, mate. He's one of the players that when he's on, he's unpredictable, mate. He can play the wee slip rule passes, and he can get on the end of things, and he makes a wee daft runs, goes one way and cuts inside and gets good shots away. He's got some cracking goals in Europe, mate. But I'd like to see Hadji fitting in somewhere. I think the boy says there you could in a 3-4-3 type thing. Would be another wee option for Hadji. Just playing it, or just playing in just off the front two if he wanted to go with two, mate, and that wee playing like for talk's sake, just after the wee hole, mate. You know what I mean?
I think the trouble we had, mate, they're talking about minimum Christmas time before he might be fit. You might be lucky to see him.
Is that right? Aye, I didn't know that. Mate.
It might be. Well, if it's lucky, he could be back for Christmas, and I think we're being optimistic with that. But we wish him the best. And as much as I've had a go at Hadji Portbear on here, being critical of him, I genuinely believe if he'd have stayed fit, we'd have won the league.
Aye, yeah, it's one of them players, mate. I think best way to describe him, I think knew was Marmite back in the time, because there was times when he would do, wonderful magical stuff. Think back to the Braga game, when Joe Rebo gets the winner that night. Hadji was influential that night. He was the main man. I also think Oxford he would have more of an impact on a European run, again, maybe the difference in the final, because he's got that, you know, he's not a one-trick pony. He's got so much in his locker. You know, when it comes to open defences up, a shot for goal, he's 2-footed. You know, I think very highly of him, mate. And I know you have your moments with him, but deep down, you've admitted this. You know, he's a quality player. It's just to find that correct position for him. And I think under Gio, if you remember back when he first came in, Gio played him slightly deeper, didn't he? He played him sort of in between the 8 and the 10 role. So he did. So I do think Hadji still have a lot of playing time under Gio, mate. But it's just where you fit him in now, because obviously we've added Matondo, we've added Lawrence, we've added Tillman, who all plays in that sort of same role as Hadji does, mate. But I do think Hadji increases and adds a lot to any team, mate.
Linda, the window so far, the last 10 days, it's went mad. We brought a lot of money in, we brought players in. Are you happy?
Yeah, absolutely, Ox. As we said earlier, it was a wee bit slow at the beginning, but they obviously had to wait, and there was players away in international duty, obviously Aribo being one of them, and obviously Big Bassie, and they obviously had to try and figure out what was going to happen with them and get all those sort of deals in motion. So it was a bit slow, but it certainly has picked up. And it's really nice to see, isn't it, the fact that the type of player that we're bringing in, the type of club that we're dealing with as well, and we're kind of back, dare I say, on that kind of bigger stage now in terms of the deals that we're able to do. I think it's really refreshing, and it is nice to see some new faces as well, Ox. That group of players did really well. Obviously, last year we got to the Europa, final. We obviously secured the Scottish Cup, but it is nice to freshen up the squad, isn't it? Add a bit more competition for places too. So, no, I'm really pleased with the transfer window. I think we've done really well, and it's looking good for us, I think.
Southside, how important is for you for a manager to get his own players in?
I think it was really important. I said at the end of last season, I thought we'd maybe get about 8 in. I honestly didn't think we would keep Davis in Arfield and McGregor. And I know you're taking a bit of the core of the team out that's been there a long time. I know what Rangers are all about when you're bringing in a lot of new players. But, I mean, if you look at it, how much time is Davis going to get, or Arfield? So to freshen the team up, Gio has to work with his own team, his own players. I know a lot of them done well from last season, and we were unlucky not to get a bit extra in silverware. But when you sign for a manager, you're more likely to respond more for him, and you'll run that extra bit because he signed you. So for me, he'll get more out the players that he's signing. And I don't mean disrespectful to some of them that I might probably still, but I don't mean Tav, but Tav will give you effort in that. But you know what I'm getting at? There's one or two if they're not in the team and then they're getting a wee game in that, or they think they're going to go. You get your own players with your own team, and you've got your own philosophy, and the players that he's buying is for a philosophy, the way he wants to play football. And we, obviously, when we get across the halfway line, we want to have speed and pace. So, and some of the players that we had don't fit that sort of model. So it's imperative, mate, we had to refresh this team. Honestly, we had to refresh the squad. And we still need to carry on with a few more, probably in time.
Maybe. Port, then Robert.
I totally agree with Southside, mate. I think, we've touched this a couple of times. It's always time for new heroes next year. That I remember at Christmas time we were all saying this team was probably going to get broke apart when we thought Lisa Goldson was going to go. We thought this team would keep end of its shelf life, and then it went on that great European run, took us to the final, and we all sort of said, right, no, maybe the squad's not as bad as we thought. Maybe it just needs a couple, some fairy dust sprinkled over it. Some of Gio's, style of players, and I think that's what Southside's talking about when he's talking about philosophy. He knows the sort of players. He had players last season playing in the wide positions that maybe weren't doing the job that Gio totally entirely wanted to do for him. Now Gio's got Gio type players in to fit that philosophy, mate. And I think in the early signs you're already seeing, what Gio's blueprint is. I'll even touch on a wee bit about Glenn Kamara. If you look since Kamara's come in alongside Gio, he's a different player. With this sort of more forward running, no doubt with Kamara last year, we know that. He glides past players and he's got a wonderful touch, lovely turning the ball, etc. I think they've seen a different role developing over the season for Kamara. But definitely, I'm really, really excited for what I've seen with Gio's additions. And I think it'll only, you think you run Gio 2 on from when he came out of the club at Christmas, mate, to where we are now, and now he's got his own players in. I think you'll see another 10% in performance and quality added, mate. I think it's great.
Robert?
I agree with everybody's mentioned stuff so far, mate. I think for me personally, it's been a successful window so far. I think depending on how many go out, for the rest of the window, maybe have one or two more in. I think we'll definitely get a left back in, but again, depending on who goes out, whether it be loans or permanent signings or whatever, I think maybe a striker can come in there. I think that's maybe the only two additions that I would make. But I like also the signings we've made, not for the first team, but see for the B team and the under 18s or whatever they get into. But a lot of young, good talent in there, and it's nice to see we're going down that road of looking at the future and getting them into the academy. And they've got pathways now into the first team. We've got Patterson you can look at and see how he's done. You can look at the success that we've done and taking a player like Bassey and built him up into a £20 million player. So there's a lot of good stuff getting on behind the doors at Rangers, especially in the academy. And there's a lot of young boys coming through as well. King, McCann, Lowry. The pathway's there, and it's nice to see that we're going down that route of the future and trying to build it up and going back to the days that when I was younger, it was about players coming through the academy into the first team and cementing that spot, and that's nice and refreshing to see. Excuse me.
Just out of curiosity, I must have missed that era when we developed a lot of players into the first team for the academy. What era are you talking about?
In particular, just when I was younger, I would always, when I was a young boy, it was
I'm pretty young myself, so what era are you talking about?
You sound it, mate. You sound it. Just
give me a name, just a player you're talking about.
Barry Ferguson came through. Stephen Hughes, I remember he came through as well. I know he's never did well with us, really, but I know not really many, but the academy was there. I mean, the Ross McCormacks. I think the show was on years ago on BBC. Dare I say their name on the show?
Blue Heaven, are you talking about? Yeah.
The Blue Heaven.
Yeah, how many of them made it? How many of them really made it?
Not many, but we're in a better position now, mate. We're in a much better position.
This is a golden. This potentially is a golden time, mate. Rangers have never been. We've not been a club that's ever been famed for bringing boys through particular loads. We've always brought players in with. It was always frustrating that we couldn't get our boys into the team. This looks as if it could be a time that you could go to Rangers with confidence Southside. If you were good enough, you'll get your chance.
Aye, that's what we're all hoping, because we've seen the potential in some of the boys for the games I've played, and Charlie McCann scores down at Blackpool. But when you're bringing in, I think, Tom Lawrence, and you're bringing in the boy Tillman, I think in the positions where they're going to be filling, I think for maybe one or two of them, they might struggle, but I'm hoping to get a wee run in the League Cup, at least two of them, and then fill it with other players that are maybe not getting a lot of game time. But it's fruitful right now. The academy's starting to show it. They all say it takes a good number of years to start bringing players through, and we've got a host, and we've sent a few out on loans, once to Kilmarnock and Partick Thistle and that. So we're starting to see a lot of the boys start to come through Ox, and these three at the moment, or four, with Devine getting a bit more game time, is good for all the younger boys to see. But I'm just hoping that maybe Lowry or McCann might get some of game time, but I think it'll be hard for them at the start of this season anyway, going forward. That's just my own opinion.
All right, okay. Oh, Robert mentioned the BBC. That's quite a nice wee segue into this. Linda, a statement came out today for the club and for the BBC that I think a lot of people were surprised, myself included. Didn't see it coming.
Yes, would you like me to read it out?
You've got the statement for the club.
So it seems that the ongoing dispute has been resolved, Docs. So Rangers said, we acknowledge the recognition of past errors and the apology from BBC Scotland and the recent apology from Michael Stewart. Reporting of football matches at Ibrox will recommence at the beginning of season 2022-23. So that was basically what the club said, but BBC themselves said a disagreement between BBC Scotland and Rangers FC has limited the BBC's ability to report from Ibrox Stadium over a long period of time. The BBC and Rangers FC have now agreed that it is in the best interests of the BBC's audiences and Rangers supporters everywhere for the BBC and the club to resolve the dispute and to provide the fullest possible coverage of all Rangers matches. The BBC is committed to reporting the Scottish Premiership fully and fairly across all clubs. However, it recognises that the club has genuine concerns about the accuracy and balance of some coverage. The BBC acknowledges that there have been occasions when parts of the coverage of Rangers FC have not met its editorial standards. It has apologised for those instances and is happy to repeat those apologies now. We look forward to a positive ongoing relationship with the club. And that was it.
Wow.
I was surprised. I don't know. I don't think we've missed them. I think they've missed us, if that makes sense, Southside.
100%. I think it was something that was probably going to get resolved. It's been going on a long time, hasn't it? To be honest, it doesn't bother me that they weren't covering any Rangers games, and we weren't giving interviews to them. We've all heard the stuff that they've peddled in the past, and the way there's certain journalists and the way we were documented, as Bridge said many a time.
Did I hear you right there? Did you say peddled or peddled? And sorry,
So, but Bridge would obviously watch bits and check it all out, and he would come on and have his rants. So, but it's been resolved. Obviously, they'll go forward, but I'd keep an eye on them, mate. Obviously, we'll be keeping a close eye on them, and hope if they do the interviews and they do the commentary and talk about Glasgow Rangers, they talk fairly, and neither a nonsense for the certain people on the panel in the past and also the radio stations.
Aye, but Bridge is no ways right because he's having a lie down. Be shocked today.
Aye, indeed, mate. I thought Bridge would have come on tonight just to get it off his chest. I think the statement says everything, mate. Indeed, they need Rangers more than we need them. I think they missed out on a lot of right good journalism when Rangers went on the European run, and the basically the story and the road back to where we are now, mate. They've missed out and all that. But it said that the genuine concerns about the accuracy and the balance of some of its coverage, mate. I think that, like Southside, I think that's one thing we still need to keep a wee close eye on, to make sure it's impartial and it's done fair. And the Rangers on the Glasgow Rangers name isn't blackened in any way. But they've climbed down after horse, mate. We've accepted the apology, and the partnership, we'll start again and develop. But like Southside said, mate, let's just watch this space, because I would still keep my eye on them.
Billy.
Listen, Ox, I could rant all night, mate, but as you keep telling me, buddy, less is more. Well, I'll certainly keep it as short as I possibly can here, mate. I think it's one of these ones that, you're good now, we need you to lift our TV ratings. And that's me putting it very, very politely. I wouldn't, and I'm telling you something right now, mate, I wouldn't trust them as far as I could throw them. And that's what I'm going to say no matter. But if Rangers think it's okay, then we've got to trust our club, mate. But I wouldn't trust them as far as I could throw them.
There's a lot of positives in it. Obviously, when you're dealing with sponsors and all that, you're back on a major broadcasting company again. It's a positive, Linda.
Okay, and no doubt Rangers will be looking at it from a business perspective, Ox, because we certainly don't need their journalism or we
No missed
probably
them at all. No missed them at all, Linda.
we haven't missed them, and in the time that this dispute's been going on, there's so many other different platforms for us as fans to get our information and etc. And also the fact that it's just the accuracy, and there's a lot of people that don't trust them, and I think, as the guys have said, that will continue. All I would say is that there are still a lot of people that rely on those kind of main broadcasting companies for their news ops. Maybe people that don't have, like, Sky or BT Sport, they don't look at social media. Just thinking about maybe relatives. I'm thinking about my dad, as example. Like that, they would tune into the BBC, and I'm only looking at it from that perspective. But we've certainly not missed them, but they've missed us. The guys are totally right. What they've missed out on, particularly last year, was ridiculous. So, as I say, let's just wait and see how it pans out.
It'll be interesting to see the personnel they pick to cover our games. Anyway, your thoughts, Robert?
I definitely came as a surprise this morning. It wasn't the news I was expecting to hear. I agree with what's been said. I think they've shot themselves in the foot the past year, missed out on what we've achieved and what we've done. So they've obviously bit off more than they can chew and thought, time to say sorry, and rightly so in my opinion. I think it's been long overdue. I take Billy's point. I think there's a lot of people still be a wee bit wary and won't trust him, and I think that will continue for a long time. But again, I agree with Linda's point as well. It's business point of view. It's for Rangers and mainstream TV media and such. It benefits us that way, but we've not missed them in terms of we needed the money or we needed them in. Not at all.
Yeah, it'd be interesting whether the deal was brokered or the olive branch could have been at Westminster Southside when we had the reception for the 150th anniversary. And people were asking questions. Could it be that? Am I being putting too?
It's obviously something that they've wanted to do, and the fact that they've had to come out and apologise, that's the thing that we've been looking for to know. But we knew what they were doing the other years. We'd sit and listen to it at times, and we'd seen bits and bobs the way they had portrayed us. So it's done now, mate, and it's just about going forward, isn't it? And it's just about keeping the all-seeing eye on them, just to make sure everything's above board. But I, like you say, it will be interesting to see who they send to Ibrox when they want to do their commentary and that. And obviously, I don't know if they're getting in for media work, as in asking questions and that, or they have to pay the money to get into to do the interviews.
What's your own opinion, Ox?
What's my opinion?
Yeah.
I think they missed us more than we missed them. It didn't change us one jot. It didn't change our model. It didn't change our support. But I think there's a section of the support who still need the red tops and deal with the local media's coverage and also the national broadcaster to get there's still a percentage of people out there who that's what they rely on for their news. You would say that's the vast majority, maybe maturer people, maybe outside and Stevie's age, but but I think we've missed them, and I think that there's a place for them if it's done properly, and all we ever want is a fair crack of the whip. If we have a bad performance, we don't mind any journalist saying Rangers were red rotten, because we'd say it ourselves.
Yep.
But the stories and the downright at times lies they told about our club were despicable, and I thought that the people who took up the cudgel done the right thing, and it's not affected their brand whatsoever. So it just shows we're stronger when we stick together. That might be a theme for the next 2 years, but there you go. But listen, is it going to make any difference to us as supporters? I don't know if it will. Is it good for the club? Maybe a small percentage, but yeah.
Aye, makes sense, mate. Yeah, a certain generation you're talking about, I take it here.
Aye,
people who use that platform.
I think so, mate. I think so. I think there's things. media is changing, and it's changed rapid since this. Even since this fall what happened, mate. It's changed and developed, isn't it? You look to watch the Rangers now. You need Sky Sports, BT Sports for Europe, and Premier Sports to watch cup ties. You need 3 digital channels to watch the live games that are on the telly.
That's true.
But that's how things have changed. But I think it can only be a good thing if it's done properly. And I agree with Southside's point. We will watch intently what's said and who says it. Yeah.
Oh, definitely under the microscope stuff. Yep, definitely. I think their statement's pretty strong, Gerald, though. When they say about, the accuracy and balance of somebody's coverage, I think that's pretty much put your hand up in it. I don't know how much more they can put it, apart from, as you said, just saying we were lying, cheating, so and so. You know what I mean?
Loaded agenda. We know who they were. We know who they were working, who they were trying to benefit.
Yeah.
But we might be a lot of things, but we ain't naive.
No.
Yeah.
But that's just my point, and I think overall it's going to be a good thing. Linda.
Yeah, as I said, Ox, we don't really want to be in dispute with anybody, really. We've moved on a lot, but Rangers took a stance on it and they did the right thing, and they've proven as well that we won't be messed about. So if they do go back down that slippery slope again, and it'll be interesting to see, as you said, the clientele that does the coverage of Rangers. And I think the BBC would be wise enough that they'll choose their clientele carefully. But yeah, as I said, there's still sections of their support that probably rely on companies like the BBC for coverage. And I think I'd said to you in the chat that it's a possibility that the overall BBC broadcasting company, in terms of down south, told BBC Scotland to get this sorted, Ox, because it wouldn't have looked good on them either. So as I say, we'll see how it pans out going forward.
I can just imagine the conversation if somebody wasn't aware of it. Right, we have to get this sorted. The Rangers have got to a European final. Get the camera crews up there. Let's go in and interview them and get some players, and we'll do a feature on Football Focus.
Oh, brilliant!
Oh, we can't. How no?
Well, not allowed.
I know. And let's remember, Ox, as well, they chose not to come, like Rangers didn't ban them, so you're right, but we can't go and cover it because we don't want to. We're not sending anybody. Didn't make sense, and it made them look stupid, really, to be honest with you.
Bitter as well, Linda. Right.
Aye.
Is it Southside? I think as things have moved on, they definitely missed us more than we missed them. Just as yeah.
It's all about the Rangers, isn't it? That's just a matter of fact. And obviously all the other broadcasters were getting access to us, But okay, moving forward, like I said, it's just about keeping an eye on them and just seeing how they portray us and how they portray us in the media. But apart from that, nothing else really matters for us, Ox. It's them that has lost out in the long term. And obviously, they've obviously had the discussion. So we move forward, but it's all just about us this season, and hopefully we're going to get the trophy haul that we're all looking for. That's what matters to us, really.
Yeah. I don't think anybody will wake up in the morning saying, "Oh, it's good the BBC's back reporting on what I'll be what centre forward for, Billy."
I'm saying nothing, mate. I'm saying nothing. I'm keeping my powder dry in this one, mate. I can't, to be perfectly honest with you, mate. Black and white, I can't stand them, mate. I just cannot stand them, mate. And I'm just going to leave it there, eh?
I think the point you're making is, Billy, we can see right through their agenda and we know what they're coming for. Yeah,
correct.
Yes, we can see it, mate. We're no naive. Yes. Right. Okay. Right. So, how do you rate the summer for the club so far since the Scottish Cup final and things have moved on? Has it been a shock, the business we've done? Are you surprised, or is it exactly what you thought, Portbear?
I'm going to start with Gio's appointment, mate. When Gerrard went out the door, early thoughts were, oh wow, we've lost the guy that started this journey. And then slowly but surely, Gio starts building, our club to his image and the way the style and the philosophy he uses. And great end to the season, Scottish Cup, European Cup final, a bit of disappointment. But even after the disappointment last year, I was still full of, vigour, and I thought, under this new manager, I just see enough in him next year, especially in the European run when he made sort of impact changes and stuff throughout the games. He wasn't stuck in one formation, one system. This guy, I think, man, he was willing to change things. And I enjoyed that. And then now that the summer windows burst open, 6 signings and more to come. And what I've seen early signs, mate, I'm really excited to have Giovanni Van Bronckhorst as our manager, because I think we're better. We've definitely improved since Gerrard went away, and that's all you can ask, mate.
Mm-hmm. And then the summer, the business that's been done in the summer?
I'm over the moon with that, mate. I think we've pressed the upgrade button. I think with the players that's been out the door, Bassey and Aribo, Itten, etc., who've all went, I think we've brought Kolak into place sitting, upgrade. I think Lawrence is a possible upgrade on Aribo.
Wow, that's a bold statement, that one.
And time will tell with Ben Davies, mate. I think he'll become, a good servant to our club. He'll be solid. And, Calvin Bassey's big shoes to fill, mate. Massive shoes to fill. But I think Ben Davies will do more than enough to, fulfill Bassey, get out the door, mate.
Well,
I'm happy.
You better pass that boss stick to Southside. Southside, that was a bold statement.
I know, I know. See what happens to people's brains when they watch one game, I'll tell you what, Port, what I will say to you is, I think if Lawrence is playing pretty regular, I think he'll probably score more goals in a season, maybe than Joe Aribo scored for us. I'll give him that. I think he might chip in with more goals for us. But obviously we're playing a different style now. We're playing with fast wingers. We want pace. We're wanting to put balls in the box. We're going to load the box with hopefully forward-thinking players. If you've got Lawrence and Tillman on the park, you've got Matondo or Scott Wright with pace down one side, and you've got Kentkin down the other, and Kolak or Alfie. It's good. We've got forward-thinking players, but there'll be games when we'll not be as gun-ho probably at times with all them on the park. But a bold statement. I think I'd get a wee wild Port before I would get down that road. But he's got something about him. I think he'll be well into tackle sport. He might teeter on the edge of a red card now and again. Doesn't look shy to go in for a tackle. But it's a bold one, Ox, that one. I think we can come back and get with that later, Port, as time goes on.
You will, mate. Well, I think you'll out-assist and you'll out-score Joe Aribo. There you go. I'm going to say it now.
Right, I tell you what, you used to have a Lamborghini on it, right? Oh dear. Fox wants you and each other more to be drug tested.
Drug tested.
Linda, that was a bulgy, wasn't it?
Oh, definitely. Go for it, Port.
Definitely, Linda.
You're no scared, then you're not, to put your reputation on the line, so you've done it early doors this season.
I've done it pre-season. No, I did, but I just think, overall, I love Joe Aribo and I absolutely love Joe Aribo, but I just think what I like about Tom Lawrence is you touched on it, Southside. He'll chase back, he'll put his foot in where it hurts. He's got his assists are incredible, and his goal ratio for a number 10 or number 8, 10, whatever it plays, it's incredible. Any club he's been at, especially at Derby. So I just think he's just. I know he's more or less a finish, but we've got about 27 going into peak his career, and I think it's a great time to get any player, isn't it? So I just think he's got a bit about him as well, mate.
It's took me a while to say this, but listen, thanks for the call, Port. Don't be a stranger. Well, gentlemen, and Linda, we've reached that time of the evening. Last word for your good self, Robert.
great show again as well, Ox, as always.
It was a real good show up to Port there the last 5 minutes. Sorry about that, mate.
It's getting late, man. It's his bedtime. He needs his nap. I think they better go and tuck him in. No, great show, mate. Thanks for taking my call. Looking forward to Saturday. I'm taking my wee girl to her first game on Saturday, so hopefully be a good spectacle for her. Enjoy it.
What age is she? 24?
She's 4, pal. 20 years less. She's 4, so
absolutely.
She's wasn't to go. It'll be good to take her, see her wee face light up. And I was going to take her last season to win the league games, but ended up just wasn't behaving enough. I thought she was too young. So take her to pre-season and hopefully get a good spectacle.
I hope she enjoys it, mate. I hope you get a nice day for it and everything works out well and she loves it, mate. Billy?
Aye, great show tonight, Ox. Thanks for asking me on, mate. Great panel. Some cracking questions and comments, mate. Great callers. The host wasn't bad either, I may add. Roll on Spurs at the weekend, mate.
Yeah. Cheers, Billy. Speak to you soon. Outside.
Aye, mate, I enjoyed the night. Thanks very much for having us on. And it's good to be back on with the troops, talking about the famous Glasgow Rangers. Looking forward to Saturday, mate. I'm looking forward to seeing Spurs. It was good to see West Ham. Some of the players were good the other night. You know, don't get a chance to see them live all the time. So looking forward to Saturday. Hopefully our Rangers win. And then off to Livingston, get the 3 points.
Yep. Linda?
Yeah, great show. I was glad to be back on. Enjoyed the summer break, but raring to go for the football and looking forward to seeing Rangers. I'm also going along to the Spurs game on Saturday. Haven't been at Ibrox for a wee while, so I'm really looking forward to it. And let's hope we can put on a good performance, set us up nicely for the real game starting. But yeah, thanks for having me on. Really enjoyed it.
Oh, not at all. It's no mate. It's on you have yourselves on. Port Bear, this is your last show, mate, so you better.
Cheers, mate. Well, great night. Cheers to Southside, Linda, Billy, part of the panel, all the phone callers. Good night, mate. Thanks very much for having us on.
Cheers, mate. Just as well you can laugh, innit? Well, you can laugh. Thanks to everybody. Thanks to Billy and Linda, Southside Port, for doing the show. Blue Star and Robert for joining us. Fox and Old School Blue for doing the technicals. This has been Rangers Radio. We'll be back on Friday when we build up to the Spurs game. And then on Monday, we'll be back to full time. And Friday, we'll be joined by Bridge, all bearing the one and only Jaffa. Thanks for listening. Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of the summer while it lasts. Take it away, Old School Blue.